Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with a review of the Transformers Titans Return Leader Class Dreadnaut and Decepticon Overlord. Yes, the Japanese exclusive Godmaster that obtained popularity in the West after Nick Roche and James Roberts used it in their comic series, The Last Stand of the Wreckers, is now here in toy form in the US and is being reviewed for you right now. I basically told you what you need to know about this character. His name is Overlord. He came from Japan in 1988. He was a Godmaster, which is their version of Power Masters. He gained popularity in the US as in the Last Stand of the Wreckers, and then continued on to Matumti a bit. And yeah, that's all I really need to say about Overlord, except for the fact in Japan that he was both a man and a woman, because technically the Godmasters were actually the humans, which were the tiny robots that then gained power suits and were them, and then the tank was they were husband and wife together, so that was weird. But let's take a look at Dreadnaut, who is based off the husband of the pair, Giga. He's very nice. He's very black. For the most part, he's got a bit of great chest and a painted head, actually. There's like a turquoise kind of a green going on the helmet, and a nice golden painted faceplate with faceplate and the eyes and the regular part of the face all in gold. Simple details going on there. There is Overlord's face on the back, and for a quick comparison, here he is with the same molds. Basically, Giga, Mega, the wife, which came from Ominous. This was called Ominous, came from Sky Shadow. So you can see they're actually, their mold is basically, like, the heads are basically the same. Several details, and most notably the legs and the arms do have different molded details on them, so you can tell them apart, but their chests are pretty much the same. Whoops, sorry, Dreadnaut. And then you take a look at the back, and actually the faces are not so drastically different. Like, the lines are in different places, but it's pretty much black helmet, silver face paint, and just different colored eyes. Yeah, you can see it's a little hard. Would be a little hard to tell these two apart if you didn't have the eyes to help you, or the rest of the body. Just for that, sorry, Ominous. But for articulation, Dreadnaut does have standard Time Master articulation. His head can rotate a full 360 degrees. His arm can bend all the way that far. His can bend that far out to the side. The legs are able to bend that far forward and that far back, and the knees can bend that far back and that far forward. And to transform, just collapse him in half. There he is in his head mode, and that is pretty standard. And that's all there is to say about Dreadnaut by himself. So I'm going to put him down and bring out the tank. I mentioned in my review from yesterday that this that Sky Shadow was a pre-tool to Overlord, and it is definitely noted in the tank because tanks are basically the same. I'll just bring him in Sky Shadow's tank portion right now just to show that off. They are identical except for paint and color layout. As you can see, he is Overlord's tank portion is predominantly blue in color. Most of it is molded blue, though you can tell this bit right here is painted blue. It's a slightly different shade from the rest of the blue. A little bit of light green turquoise going on here. White for the main tank section, with the cannon itself being purple. Nice gray paint for the treads. And that's pretty much all the detail. And that there's Overlord's crotch and his upper legs right there. And the upper legs kind of blend in better since the rest of the tank is blue, as opposed to Sky Shadow, where the upper legs were gray. He's got 3 translucent orange wheels that will allow him to roll on the ground. He's got 5 Titan Master ports, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this cockpit can open and sit, and you can sit a Titan Master inside there. There you go. That's all on the tank portion. Now we come over to the jet portion of Overlord. And if you remember from the review yesterday, this looks very different from Sky Shadow. Here's Sky Shadow. Shut up, computer. I do not need to check my emails right now. I am doing a review. Here's Overlord and Sky Shadow, and Yeah, for the most part, this is just a completely new section on the mold. Even looking at the chest, like they got similar hands and like elbow joints, but like looking at that, you couldn't really tell that these two were part of the same toy unless you realized, oh hey, the legs are the same. Like basically half the toy is completely new. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's kind of quite crazy, really, when you think about it. But let's take a closer look at the jet. Is kind of based off of a Blackbird, an SR-71 Blackbird. You got a predominantly black body. You got a translucent orange cockpit with some black paint on it there. You got some nose cone wings going on there. A little bit of silver and turquoise paint going on there. A little bit of a sticker going on here with some silver, turquoise, and red sections. The engines are predominantly white. There are some sticker stripes going along the side of the engines. You got a purple point at the front of the engine. You got a purple wing with a sticker up there, black wing on the side, and then there's the back with fists and gaps. And I already showed you the underside of Overlord. And unlike, unlike Sky Shadow, he does have a landing skiff. It just folds down from right there, and you use that to help him stand up in robot mode. There is this 5mm port back here, which is very similar to the one on Sky Shadow, which is up here, and that can also obviously fit the tank turret in this mode, but obviously the tank turret goes with the tank and not on top of the jet, though you can totally do that if you want to. And the Time Master compatibility, there's a Time Master port there, one there, one there, one there, and I'm pretty sure that's it for the jet mode. And then you can open up the cockpit, open that cockpit up, and you can sit Time Master inside there. Or it is also possible, since there is a Titan Master port right there, though this section also does open up and is more important for the base mode, that you can just have a Titan Master more or less standing in the cockpit and be like, hello world, I just flew across the planet in this jet and now we're gonna kill you all. Like, because that's probably what Overlord would do. He'd probably kill you. But that is pretty much it for Overlord and his vehicle modes. So let's get into some size comparisons. Here they are next to Legends Class Bumblebee. Let's see how that scales. Excuse me. Deluxe Class Chrome Dome here. Scale. Scale. Voyager Class Megatron. Scale. Scale. And Leader Class 6 Shot. And scale. Let's let that sit there a bit longer. And scale. And the jet mode is still longer than Overlord is. And does end up being wider. Sorry for the extreme closeness of that shot. But yeah, so that's all there is to say about Overlord in his vehicle modes. So let's roll right along and get them into his base mode. So we're going to do a very similar thing we did with Sky Shadow yesterday. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here, take the turret off, come split the legs. This was a lot easier today. Fold them out, move them out to the side, rotate there, keeping that hip joint in place. Fold it at this hinge right here. Fold it at that hinge right there, because it's going to be oriented this way. Flip this down, come here, flip the connector bit out, and close that back up. Repeat on the other side. Do that, fold that, come here, flip out, close it down, And then you got the front half of the base all set. We'll leave that off to the side. And we'll come here, we'll come to Overlord next. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this section and we're going to rotate it up and fold it up like that. We'll fold down the landing gear as well. And then we're going to come around. And this isn't the C, right? Hold on. So later on in the review, I realized I forgot something. And since I did have to take a bit of time to look up how Overlord's base mode actually worked, I'm going to use this opportunity to do that. The thing I forgot was that the two jet and tank parts can combine into one form, just like Sky Shadow, though it doesn't work actually. So what I'm talking about is, what's going to happen is these bits that will be Overlord pectorals are going to open, and they can fit Prime Masters, Time Masters, whatever. There's these tabs on the sides of these gaps, and there are holes underneath these bits on the tank. So how this is supposed to work is that these sections, we're going to grab them in those holes and tab in, and that, by doing that, they will be combined. I don't know why this is working even less well than normal. That's all I've got to say. But regardless, it doesn't work. It's supposed to tab in. The intention is that that all tabs in as one, but it don't. Wait a second. Okay, I had it for a split second. I was like, what? I've heard so many people complaining about that not working. So like, I got it to work for like a half a second, and then it fell. So I see what they were going for. It did not work. You're not really going to get the tank to be carried by the jet in any way, shape, or form, which is very unfortunate. But now we're done with that combination, let's move on to the rest of the review, shall we? Sorry for the cut there, folks. I misremember this Overlord's portion of the transformation so badly. I really needed to look it up. So it wasn't fair for you to wait while I looked up the image, and it was because I was in fact doing it wrong, because it's actually fairly different from how Sky Shadow actually transforms, because a big thing that's going to happen is this assembly here is actually going to fold, not this part. This assembly up here actually folds up. What you're going to do is you're going to take these sections and you're going to fold them back, and they collect into place. And then this whole bit rotates out, and everything else just stays in place, pretty much. And then all of this gets connected into place there. And then you place the gun here. And you can also come back here and flip this section out. Maybe it's going to be easiest if I get in through the nose cone. Yep, there it is. There we go. You can also flip that out. I'm going to extend the arms to just give him some more balance back here. And we probably don't need to extend them all the way, but he does need to be extended so it's like properly laying on the ground. But this is in fact Overlord's base mode, and it's pretty nice. It kind of gives off the vibe of like a space shuttle getting ready to take off, but it's still pretty neat base mode. It's got the 4 Time Master ports from the tank mode still accessible, and these 2 Time Master ports also still accessible. And like I mentioned before, this Time Master port up here, that's on this new balcony basically from Overlord. There's a few Time Master ports that are accessible on the sides, but then that means you're gonna have a bot that's like wall climbing or something if you want to have that going on. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a base. It's got these connection things that work with all other base formers, so all leader class and time class figures. They are very small though, so how well they connect to the other bases depends on where the accessibility point is. So you may have to figure that out. But I mean, like, it's a pretty nice base. It's a pretty nice base. There's Dreadnaut for comparison. And let's get into another round of size comparisons for this. So here is Legends class Bumblebee. And you can see how that scales. The looks like Chrome Dome. Just realize that's not transformed all the way. You can see how that scales. Voyager class Megatron. And you can see how that scales. Leader class 6-shot. I'm gonna move things into proper position. You can see how that scales. And since I had time to do so while I had to pause, here he is next to Sky Shadow's base mode, and you can see that they are laid out substantially differently. Mostly the main thing is that the Sky Shadow's portion lays out longer, with the nose cone still going up, while Overlord is pretty much a jet just standing straight up. The legs are the same. There's just a different position of where the guns are placed. Again, fairly different for base modes, though you still kind of got a similar vibe going on, since you got jet nose cones sticking up to be like the towers of the base mode. But that is all I have to say on Overlord's base mode. So let's get on to his robot mode. So we're gonna take this gun out, and actually, before we really get crazy here with this transformation, we're gonna raise the camera to be ready to meet Overlord's new height. So first things first, we are going to flip this whole assembly down like that. We'll come down here, we'll straighten the legs out, rotate them around, straighten the legs out, rotate them around, come to the feet, flip the toes out, and flip the connector bits in, flip the heel out, do the same on the other side, flip out the toe, fold in the connector, flip out the heel. And we're going to come over here. We're going to untab the arms. There's going to be a tab right there that fits into that slot right there. We're going to come down. We're going to extend the arms. We'll fold this wing back. We'll fold this wing back like that. And then we shall flip out the fist. And we'll repeat that on the other side. Untab, extend, fold wing up, fold wing down, fold out the fist. We shall close that section up. We shall fold this whole assembly down on this double hinge like so. Oops, one thing I forgot, flip these panels back up into place. Fold that back down. Come here, rotate the helmet around, open it, take Dreadnaut and just plop him on in there. And there you have Overlord in his robot mode, and that does look quite nice. It's quite a nice Overlord. I don't know, doesn't strike me as interesting as Sky Shadow for whatever reason. It's still a very nice mold and a very good toy. You know, I think I like Sky Shadows better, surprisingly enough. But this, again, don't get me wrong, this is still a wonderfully nice mold. And now let's take a closer look at him. He's very blue, so everything else is very yellow. We already saw his head. We got the black helmet sticking out of this blue helmet. I'm not sure how much I like the black with this setup. I think I might have preferred it blue, but it's what it is. But it's a very nice blue helmet going on there. Predominantly blue upper body, upper chest. Got some white pectorals going on there with some silver mechanical detailing painted out. Very nice molded detailing on chest bits. A little bit of black in the center. Gray panel there. 6 gray guns right there. A little bit of blue around the wheel and the crotch. Black for most of the crotch. Blue on the upper legs. We saw pretty much the legs for the tank mode, but we see more panel lining here. And some stickers going on there on his knees. Those don't look so good. Get a little bit of purple at the front of the toes there. Gary treads on the side. Everything on the side is blue. The arms are pretty much nose cones, so it's all white and purple, although the these gray hinges now appear. The wings just kind of fold up onto the backs of the arms. You got some solid black fists going there and there. You got the jet nose cone hanging on the back. Yeah, and some Decepticon foil sticker sticking on right there. As for articulation, his head can rotate a full 360 degrees, no up and down, no side to side, maybe a little bit up and down. I think that's more so me just stressing the hinge on that joint, so maybe don't do that. Arms can rotate a full 360 degrees. They are able to bend that far out to the side. It kind of feels like it's got a very similar like double jointed thing going on that sorry for the camera shaking, Sky Shadow did, but like it doesn't bend out quite as far because like you'll see this, like this is the hinge and then there's this extra bit right here, and you can tell barely that it moves a little bit, but it doesn't seem to come out all the way. Like it's a little more noticeable on this arm with that section still wanting to come out, but it's either there it goes. There it goes. You can do that. So you got two different points of bend outward for the shoulder. Biceps have a 360 degree swivel, as well as slightly greater than 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Fists only just bend in and out due to transformation. Nothing at the waist. Legs can bend that far forward, that far back. Legs can bend that far out to the side. Thigh swivel, 360 degrees of bend, slightly, a bit less than 90 degrees of bend at the knee. Toe can, actually I was wrong yesterday. If you move the toe down, you can get the toe to bend a tad bit upward, but not necessarily a whole lot, but you can get it to go upward, but leaving in this position, you can definitely get it to go down. Heel just goes down, definitely does not go up. And there is also a 90-degree ankle pivot, which is way more ankle pivot than you need, but it is there. As for gimmicks, he can open up these pectorals, and you can place Titan Masters or Prime Masters now inside there. This also reminds me, I did forget something. Though now I say that, I'm probably going to put it in one of the jump cuts. So you probably will have already seen it. I look like a crazy fool about how the jet and the tank are supposed to connect. But again, you probably already saw that at this point. So they exist and they can fit things. I'll just grab Ominous and put him in there so as you can see the screaming face going on inside his chest. Looks a bit better with the Prime Master since they kind of fit a bit more snugly and it's a little easier to get them out. Ah, come on. Get out of there. Get out of there. And then those just close up. What was next? Accessories. First thing you can do is you can just completely remove this nose cone. Just remove the nose cone in its entirety. Flip this down this gray peg between the landing skids, and then peg them into that hole on Overlord's arm. So you get a jet shield going on there. And you can also take the tank turret, place it in his hand right there, and now Overlord is armed and ready for murder. Also an interesting, this may technically have been in the articulation, but because of how the back works, you can technically have him like arch his back backwards, and when you do, you get an even greater row of guns coming out of the arch that is being made. Let's see if I move those out of the way. You can get him to go all the way, and then you got like, hey, look at me, I got extra guns coming out of my gut. I don't know, that's really good. That probably should have been an articulation, but whatever. This is basically how Overlord is presented in Japanese media. Again, you can store it on the back if you want to, and then this, but if you don't, this section admittedly does kind of look weird without anything for it to attach to. But I mean, if you store it on the back, that's looks completely fine. But yeah, that's all there's to say on Overlord by himself. So now let's get into some size comparisons. Here he is next to Legends class Bumblebee. Let's move him back a little bit more. You can see Bumblebee comes up to his knee. Deluxe class Chrome Dome basically comes up to the wheel in his crotch. Voyager class Megatron. Megatron just comes to the bottom with his white pecs, basically. Leader class 6-shot, and Overlord is just a hair taller than him at the head, but he doesn't have jetpack kibble sticking up, so 6-shot wins it with the kibble. Here he is with the channel's mascots, Soundwave and Wheeljack. And a Soundwave will stand properly. You can see how he looks next to them. And here he is next to Sky Shadow. And you can see, oh no, I almost knocked my lamp over, oh no. You can see the differences between them in their robot modes, how they place their things, how the entire body is a retool. Even the crotches are different, even the crotches are completely different. Even the tank wasn't even 100% accurate. The crotches are the crotch portions were different. It's ridiculous. Keep quiet, laptop. But yeah, they're still both very fantastic uses of the same base mold. But overall, Overlord is a very nice toy. Very great character to have in my collection. I still, in terms of the uses of the mold and the retools and stuff, I still think the Sky Shadow mold is actually a bit better than this one. I don't know, after that one, this one seems just a tad bland. I don't know what it is. I really don't understand it. I don't know. It's still great, don't get me wrong. Again, it's still great. The Sky Shadow's just a little bit better. If you can only get one version of the mold, I would recommend the Sky Shadow version of the mold. That's as unfortunate as it is. It's the truth. But that is all I have to say on Overlord. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, please consider donating on my Patreon page to help support the channel. All the links will be in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack signing off.